Everybody, it's John on John Talks Indian Cinema with another 10ish-minute review. Now, this one is not off the recommended list, okay? Taking a little pause from that. All right, I just did one, and the next one I'm going to do is from the list. But this came up on my queue, and I saw who was in it, and it looked kind of interesting to me, so I watched it. And the film is 2024's Vettaiyan, Vettaiyan or Hunter. This is directed by TJ Gananaval. 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 I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. A lot of vowels there. It stars, and this is the first credit in the film, Superstar Ranjan, who I've seen in a couple of things. Entharan, Ra 1, and the film I loved, Jailer. And this character in this film reminded me of that guy. Big B himself, Amitabh Bachchan. I've seen him. Kanth, Sholay, Pink. I've seen him in a ton of stuff. Fahadh Faasil, who, again, I know I keep saying this, big fan of, and he was really good in this. Vikram, Aavesham, Super Deluxe, amongst a bunch of other stuffs, and Rana Dugubati, who was in Bahubali 1 and 2 and Baby. The story is kind of hard to boil it down simply, but it's about a super cop played by Ranjan who is brought on to do an investigation. And it then pivots and becomes a film with a pretty strong message in two areas. Encounter killings by the police, which is a phrase I've never heard before, and how the poor or the lower caste is taken advantage of by many people, and in this film by the education, by higher education is the best way to describe it. And so it's got pretty powerful statements on both of those. And there's a bad guy, and I have to say that I think the first half of the film was better than the second half. The second half kind of went a little different direction that I don't think was impactful as the first half. Although I liked both halves, but it got a little cliched in the second half. So it opens up with Big B doing a lecture in front of the National Police Academy where he's explaining the history of India. And then it cuts to Fafa, who is, and I know this is a new film, but I can't review it without spoiling it. So I am going to spoil it. So if you haven't seen it yet and you want to see it because of who's in it, I'll give you a second to walk away and then come back at a later date. Okay. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. You've been warned. So Fafa is, when you meet him, there's a crime going on that he's a part of. And he's describing the 4 categories of cops. And he explains each one. And then he says there's one above them all. And then he looks right at the camera, breaking the 4th wall. And whose entrance does that set up? That's right. Superstar Run. So you meet this character now, SP Athian. Athian. And his opening scene is he gets in a fight with a bunch of guys, and he beats them all up. And it's the first song in the film, and it's slow motion because this is not, this Ranjan guy is not a young guy, so they can't go crazy. He looks great, beautiful hair. He's got those glasses, those big glasses that he wears. That's his trademark. But he beats them all up, and then he's got the line at the end because remember the film's called Hunter. When the hunt is on, the prey must fall. And then he does this thing where he's got these clip on sunglasses, the kind that clip on to your regular glasses. So he's got it like this, and then he goes, and they go and cover his eyes, and that's when he says the line. So very, very great entrance. Well, you find out Fafa is working with the cops, and his name is Battery, and he's a cyber guy, and he's a thief that Ranjan's character befriended, um, and treats him like a human being. And so the second song, I shouldn't do the songs yet, but the music was pretty good in this. I did like this. But Fafa's character again, different than I've ever seen him because he's a sidekick. He's a sidekick in this, and he plays second fiddle to Rajan, but he's very good. Um, and then they get into the encounter killings where they set a guy up, um, and they end up killing the guy. Um, but it's a setup, right? They never intended to arrest him; they intended to kill him, which is going to come back to haunt them after that. And then there's a character, a math teacher, who plays a prominent role in this. And I will say, at one point, she's murdered, and it's it's um it's pretty brutal. The scene, it's done POV, but the first thing that happens is she gets whacked with a lead pipe on the back of the head, and it's a scene they show over and over again. And she's getting beat up. She ends up getting raped, and it's all done POV from the murderer's point of view, not hers. And they use that footage a lot. It's very disturbing, very disturbing. And it's something you don't normally see in these films. Like at one point, he breaks her larynx by putting the pipe up against her throat and twisting it so she can't scream while she's getting raped. It was tough to watch, and she had a relationship with Rajan's character. So at first they don't bring him in the investigation. Well, the investigation gets filed up. He comes back in, and the whole point is he's going to solve this in 48 hours. And he does. He finds the person that supposedly did it, and everything points to this guy. And the guy manages to escape. They find him on a boat. Now we get back to encounter killings. And this, uh, the alleged perpetrator gets killed by, and it's a pretty cool scene. He asks, "Are you 100% sure this is the guy?" Goes, "Yes." One bullet, boom, dead. Well, as the movie progresses, you come to realize this guy was innocent. In fact, he was actually a really good guy. And now the cop feels so guilty, and he's been working with Amitabh Bachchan's character, who's a litigator and who's against these encounter killings. And they start having conversations around it, and he's feeling guilty about it. Now he wants to find who really did this. And that's the brunt of the movie. Who really killed the math teacher? And he made a promise to the person he murdered, mother, that he'd find out who really did this and clear his name. And that's for, three-quarters of the movie. Well, then you find out that, and I won't go into great detail about this part of it, but there's an online education program that you can join. But because most of people in that cast can't afford it, they take out these ridiculous loans, and most of the kids can't, they succumb to the pressure of it and end up killing themselves. And that's kind of what the whole thing is about, that the math teacher kind of uncovered this. That's why they killed her. Well, then you find out the head bad guy is the head of the company, Evil Corporation. And he's like, black hat, mustache, no nuance to him. But they're all, I mean, they're just evil, and they can't get to him because he's backed by some people high up. So they can't really get to him. Well, they finally get to him. And then you've got a great scene at the end with the helicopters, and they have a big fight scene, of course. But Yeah, I really like this movie because this guy Ranjan. There's something about the guy, and I saw a picture of him, and I think the guy's bald. At least the picture I saw, he was, and in the film, he's got this like beautiful mane of hair. And again, I don't know how old he is, but he still moves pretty well. He's got such a presence to him, and Fafa is great in this movie, and he's like one of the smartest people in the whole movie. And there's a scene where, and this is a big spoiler, but I also knew it was coming. A hit squad is put out against the cop, and at one point, it's him, it's Fafa, it's Battery, and a female cop, and they're going through hard drives trying to find some evidence, and Fafa finds it, and they're all so happy because this is how they're going to be able to put the bad guy away, and boom, Fafa gets shot, and it's a just a brutal scene. He's holding him and he's dying in his arms, and then there's a scene later on where they say, "What relation are you to this guy?" And he says, "I'm his father." He wasn't his father, but he felt like he was his father. So that's how hard it hit him. So that was, you don't expect that for a character like, Fafa to die, but he did. So it just, yeah. So I like the story a lot. So I'm going to give the story a 4. I liked it. The performances, um, I thought the performances were really good. I mean, look at it's you, Amitabh Bachchan, Superstar Ranjan, and Fafa. You're not going to go wrong with that combination. So I'm going to give the performances a 4. Now, the music. Again, there was a lot of music in this. The first song I already told you this where he beats up the bad guys. The second song he comes home after beating everybody up, and it's a huge number, and it's called "He's Here to Rip It Up." And it was a cool number, and the music was nice, good. Well, it was good. The third song after the teacher is killed. It's a montage of the funeral procession and that the people want justice. So it's kind of a dark song. The fourth song, he starts to learn more about the guy he killed and realizes what a good guy he actually was. So he's feeling a lot of guilt over it. Um, but yeah, the numbers were again big, and he doesn't. And I said this in Jailer too. He doesn't really move great in the numbers, but I don't think he really has to. They keep the moves to a minimum, but they're big numbers with a lot of people, and I felt the music was pretty good, kind of catchy. So I'm gonna give the music an actual 4, which I don't normally do, but I did. I liked it. So my verdict, I guess, based on that, the verdict is a 4 for me because I just like I love this lead. Bak Chan is just, and I also read, and I don't know if this is right or not. You can tell me if I'm crazy, but they said it wasn't his voice, that they used an AI voice to imitate his voice, which doesn't make sense to me unless they mean in other language dubs, I suppose. Because to me it sounded like him. He's got a very distinct voice, and it definitely sounded like him to me. Um, but just a good movie. And I read some of the reviews, and some people didn't like it because it was a lot like kind of like Jailer, and I thought maybe like it was a sequel because the character was almost exactly the same as he was in Jailer, which isn't a bad thing because I really liked that too. But I enjoyed it. It was I don't want to say it was a quick watch because it wasn't. It was a long movie, but it seemed like it went by pretty fast because there was a lot happening, a lot of good action. There's one scene where they send out the assassins to three different groups, and of three different groups of good guys, and all three of the good guys win, which was kind of fun. It was funny and it was cool too. So yeah, if you haven't seen this, I spoiled the crap out of it, but if you like the lead in this, I think you'll like this film. If you like Jailer, you'll like this film. So that was one that I picked. That one I wanted to watch it. I'm glad that I did. So that's it for that one. So let me know if you have seen it. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If you have seen it, if you haven't seen it, let me know if you're going to watch it based upon this review. Okay. Okay, that's it. I appreciate you guys watching. And as always, I beg, please subscribe, hit the notification button, smash that like button and leave a comment. As I tell you, if you do that, it affects the algorithm. These videos get pushed out more. If not, they lie in limbo for my 130 subscribers, which, by the way, I'm extremely grateful to have that. So that's it, everybody. We'll talk to you soon with another 10ish-Minute review on John Talks Indian Cinema. Thanks for watching.
हर दिल की अपनी ताल है, अपना ही एक राग है। हर दिल की अपनी धड़कने, अपनी ही एक आग है। जज्बात पिघले पिघले है तो क्यों ना